Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. In this chapter, I will be teaching you the most mechanical gold trading strategy. So previously I made a video on gold and it was only for the people who could trade the Asian session, right? But this one is gonna work in London session. And I've been getting a lot of requests. So this chapter of this course is gonna explain each and everything about the strategy. So make sure you watch till the end so you don't miss anything. Now, my goal always has been to simplify trading, all right? I don't want you guys to be looking for daily bias and doing these top-down analysis. Yes, of course, they have a little bit of advantage over mechanical strategies, but this strategy that I'm about to teach you right now, bro, trust me, it works every single day. Like there is no day that it won't work. All right. So, what exactly is the strategy, right? So, we know that the London session starts at 3 a.m. New York time. All right. So, let's assume that this is the London session open, right? Now, all you have to do is go to the 15-minute time frame, right? And the very first fair value gap that forms during the London session, so this is the London Open, you are basically waiting for price to create some form of a fair value gap. The very first fair value gap that forms during the London session. Remember that. So let's assume that we have this fair value gap formed around here. All right. So all I'm actually waiting for is for the price to inverse it. And what I mean by this is I want the price to close below it. Okay. So the entire strategy is basically this is how it goes. So during London, mark out the first FVG that forms and then wait for it to get inversed. All right. So remember this. Now, all you are waiting for to do from here onwards when the fair value gap gets inversed is you're taking your entry on the retest, you're going for 1 to 2, and you are targeting some form of liquidity, right? And basically you're putting your stop above the bodies. So this is your entry. So let's suppose that this is wick, right? So this part of this price is the wick, but then over here are the bodies. So you're gonna put your stop here, not above the wick, but above the bodies. Literally, it's gonna work every single day, guys. All right. Now, it works for Forex as well, but there are some other methods for it. I'm gonna teach that in the upcoming chapters. But for now, this is the best goal strategy for the London session, right? And similarly, if you look at it here, we have this London Open here at 3, right? And I'm going to give you guys some examples, so don't worry. I'm going to explain all of the other things as well. You can see that we have the first fair value gap that forms, right? The very first, all right? You have to put entire focus on that fair value gap. And then you can see that whenever price inverses it is when you take your entry from the retest, all right? So what is a high probability setup in this for this strategy, right? So let's assume that price created some form of liquidity before going into London Open. And we create a fair value gap, the very first fair value gap that forms during the London session. All right. And you have these equal highs, liquidity level somewhere around here. Now, this is the high probability setup. So when price inverses that first fair value gap, you can actually take your entry on the retest or on the body closure. So if the body closes slightly above it, then you can take your entry straight away. But if it's gone way far up ahead and you think that your stop loss is going to be big, then you take your entry from the retest, put your stop below the bodies, and then you can easily target these equal highs over here. Now, what if the liquidity is swept before you get your entry, right? And this is what's going to make the setup low probability because we have already reached our target, But rest assured, even if the liquidity is swept, there might be some high time from liquidity resting above here that the price will take out. All you need to do is just look for the very first fair value gap that forms during the London session, and then you're waiting for it to get inversed, and then you're looking to take your entry from the retest, or you know, just entering straight away. Now, key thing to note is that if there is some form of news, right, you just want to avoid that setup and wait till 15 minutes pass, right, after news. You do not want to trade before news, because what's going to happen is price is going to do something like this, right? It's going to just mess up everything. So you want to avoid the high impact news. So by now this should be clean, perfectly clean, right? Now there is another way to improve the win rate, and that is by marking some form of high time from PD array, and price dips into that PD array, and then it inverses the first fair value gap that formed, right? Or it simply just swept some form of liquidity here, right? And once it sweeps that and inverses the very first fair value gap of the London session, then you can take your entry. This setup is insanely powerful, guys, and I'm going to give you guys some examples now, and you are going to thank me. Before I move to the examples, if you're watching this on YouTube, I want to let you know that my new course is coming out very soon. So if you want free access to my course, you have to enroll into my current course right now. Otherwise, if you don't do it and the new course releases, it's going to be priced at a different level. But now, if you enroll into my current course, you can actually get the entire access to my Discord, where I have the course videos for absolutely free. So let's move on to the examples now. All right, guys, so here is example 1, and we're waiting for the London Open, and at 3 a.m. we have the London Open. So now we are waiting for a fair value gap formation. And straight away, what do we have? We have a fair value gap that formed around here. So now we're waiting for price to inverse it, right? And you can see we also swept some form of liquidity here. So now we're waiting for price to inverse. And right away, we have the inversion. So I'm going to take my entry on the retest. I'm going to put my stop right below these bodies. Not below the wick, but below the body. And probably we can target 1 to 2 here. And I can leave some runners till here. But I usually go for 1 to 2, and that's it. So you can see we get our entry on the retest. And the take profit level was hit, and then price, eventually it went up to that liquidity level, and it took it out. Although I would always go for 1 to 2, and you can see how price just went up ahead and reacted from this auto block here, pushed down below. Well, if you had your stop below the wick, then maybe you could have, but you would still be close at break even. So it's best to always take your profit at 1 to 2. Let me give you guys some more examples. All right, guys, so here is example 2, and this is the London Open. So I'm waiting for a fair value gap formation. And just around here, we have the very first fair value gap of the London session. So the London session is from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., right? So I'm waiting for price to inverse it. And right away, what do we have? We have inversed it. And we have these equal highs resting around this area. And we have also swept some form of liquidity here. So I'm just going to long here, put my stop below the body here. And I can go for 1 to 2. I don't care. All right. I'm just going to go break even at 1 to 1. So I'm risk free. So let's assume what happened here. You can see that at this point I would go break even, right? But since 1 to 1, yeah. So I'm just going to hold till 1 to 2. And eventually it goes up ahead and takes out this high over here as well. So you can see how we inversed the very first fair value gap, and we had these liquidity resting above here. It is not necessary. These 2 steps, right? The liquidity sweep and the resting liquidity is not necessary, but it's gonna improve the win rate. Always, it's gonna always improve the win rate. But if you want to keep things as mechanical as possible, just wait for the first fair value gap to get inversed and take your entry, bro. It's really not that hard. And if I go just around here, you can see that we have this fair value gap, the very first fair value gap that formed during the London. And notice what happened. We had this liquidity level resting around here, right? And we swept this liquidity here, and then we inversed the fair value gap, the first fair value gap of the London session. Short position right here, stop right above the bodies here, and a beautiful 1 to 2 risk to reward right away. So 2 examples in one clip. Let me give you guys some more examples. Alright guys, so here is another example, and we have the London Open here. So I'm waiting for a fair value gap formation, and we do have it around here. So notice 2 things now. We have swept this liquidity, these relative equal highs over here, right? We also swept this high over here. That's perfect. And we have these equal lows resting around this level. So what does this directly tell you? That we're going to inverse it and then we're going to push down like crazily. All right. So right away, what do we have? We have an inversion, entry on the retest, stops above the bodies of the highest wick. Right, so this is the highest wick, the bodies. All right. Because if price goes here, there's 99% chance it's going to take out this level. So just don't bother. And 1 to 2. So let's see how this plays out. We get our retest, and we push down, and the take profit was hit. Notice how the bodies were respected inside this inversion. All right, this is all algorithm, bro. Like it's insane how well this shit works. All right, so over here, you can see, bro, it just happens every single day. So this is the London session start, right? No fair value gap, no fair value gap. And then out of nowhere, we have a fair value gap. We sweep the liquidity here, right? And we have this insane amount of liquidity resting here, right? And you can just see how well it works. So inversion, entry on the retest, or actually I would enter here because it's just way too close. And my stop, you can see this is the highest wick. Somewhere, I would put it somewhere around here. And wow, insane, guys. It's incredible how well it works. All right. All right, guys. So here is the last example, and this is the London Open. So we're waiting for a fair value gap formation. And right away, we have the very first fair value gap that forms during the London session. And over here, you can see we have equal highs, and those were swept as well. And then we have this Asian low as our draw on liquidity. And you can also see we tapped into this volume imbalance here. So there are just so many confluences telling you to short this, bro. And then we have the inversion here, right? And on the retest, you can see straight away stops right above the bodies. But since the wick is not that big, I can actually put it here. It's no problem. All right. I would go for 1 to 2, but let's see how this plays out. So we got our entry, and price just melted. All right. So the key thing to note here is, guys, if you really want this model to work every single day, number one, look for liquidity sweep. All right. This is key because, it's not like necessary, but as I showed you so many examples where price sweeps some form of significant liquidity, equal highs, equal lows, and then the push is insane, right? So look for liquidity sweep, right? And or price goes into some form of key level here, and then clear draw on liquidity, right? You have clear draw on liquidity. In this example, we had this LR something. I don't want to use complicated words. It's just liquidity, bro. All right. Trend line liquidity, whatever you want to call it. Clear draw on liquidity. And then you are waiting for the first inversion of first fair value gap that forms in London. This is literally your bread and butter, guys. Like, it works so well that you have no idea. All right. Now, some days what's going to happen is, so let me just show you here. Okay. Actually, we inverse this here as well. This was a tiny little fair value gap, and you can see that we formed it at 3, right? So sometimes the fair value gap is going to form at exactly at 3. So the second candle, if it's at 3, then it's acceptable. However, if the second candle is at 245, so fair value gap is of 3 candles, right? 1, 2, 3. Now, I want the second candle to be at 3 a.m. exact. This should be the one. All right. If it doesn't form here, then I'm looking for another fair value gap to form. But since what people would do is they would consider this as the first fair value gap. And I do not want to see this. All right. Why? Because the second candle formed at 245. So this is not the fair value gap that formed during the London. However, this one right here, it formed right during London. So yeah, guys, this is practically the entire model, and you can see that we had this inverse fair value gap here as well, and price just dipped below it, bro. Let me show you guys a losing trade. Hopefully I can find it. So we inverse the first fair value gap here. Oh my god, bro. I'm just gonna end the video when I find a losing the losing trade. This is the first fair value gap. Oh my god, inverse, and it just went up. Is there any fair value gap? There's no fair value gap, bro. So we just simply skip the day. This is the first fair value gap. Body didn't close. No inversion. Dude, there is not a single losing trade, bro. Come on. I gotta find one losing trade, bro. Oh my god. There's another inverse. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my god. This is insane. Please, please, please. I need to find a losing trade. Otherwise, I won't be able to end the video. Okay, this is some form of a losing. I don't know. I just want a losing trade, bro. Even though it was way late in the London, and this is the first fair value gap that formed. No, this is not a good losing trade. I want to see a better losing trade. Oh my god. Wow. Dude, guys, I'm telling you, okay, this shit is insane. Look at this. All right, there's no losing trade, bro. Hopefully here, hopefully. All right, so you might have noticed one thing. If the fair value gap forms way too late, so in the 6th hour, so from 6 a.m. to 7, it becomes low probability. Even though we had a beautiful reaction from here, and we took out the liquidity. Anyways, I want to see a losing trade, guys. I'm losing my mind over here. Come on, give me a losing trade. This is the first fair value gap that forms in the London. We sweep liquidity, and we take out this level. This is insanity. Hopefully here. Hopefully we here have a losing trade. First inverse. Oh my god. Guys, I think the video is never going to end. There is no fair value gap here. Actually, hopefully, guys, I finally found a losing trade. No freaking way. This is not a fair value gap. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. Guys. There's no fair value gap here. Okay, finally, bro. Finally. God damn it. And the reason why we lost this trade was we didn't sweep this significant liquidity over here. All right, guys, this is going to be the end. We finally found the losing trade. I hope you guys leave a subscribe. And if you're watching it in the Discord, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this and learned something from it. I'll see you guys in the next chapter.